How is everybody doing today? It's Dr. Kim Clover here, back to talk to you about eating habits. But first I want to talk about bad habits. So don't forget to tune in and like us on Clover Counseling Services, like us on Facebook. You can check me out on my new YouTube page. Subscribe, I'm starting that out. It's been going for about a week now. But anytime you have a question, feel free to shoot it into the comments today. I'm going to be talking about bad habits because many of us have bad habits that have started not only during this pandemic, but at other times in our lives. So do you have any bad habits right now? And let's look at what are some of those. Many of us have talked about gaining weight during the pandemic. Bad eating habits have started and continued during this time for many. So, I would say eating, drinking too much, sleeping too much, cussing, gossiping, watching too much Netflix, too much TV, laying around, being lazy, all of those are typical bad habits. The experts say that you can break a habit in 21 days, as well as create a new habit in 21 days. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but let's just go with that and say, if we know that we could change a habit, why don't we? Many people will give us excuses or give me excuses, and I make them myself. One of them may be, we don't have enough time. I don't have time to exercise. I don't have time to get on a good eating plan. I don't have time to cook well. All of those are excuses. So if time is one of the excuses, another one is we never admit what the problem is. If you need to face a problem, you probably need some accountability. You need to face the problem, admit the problem, and recognize that once you look at it, admit it, and get some accountability partner in place, you can start to change it. A lot of times people will tell me, it's too hard. I can't get that going. I can't lose 100 pounds. I can't stop smoking. I've been smoking all my life. I can't quit drinking. That's too hard for me. If it's something that you want to do and you're motivated to do and you challenge yourself with a good process and a good plan, you can do it. Now, I'm going to sidetrack for a minute. There are differences in bad habits and addictions. And I'm really not going to address addictions today. If you struggle with these changes and you cannot put change in place that continues, you may have more of an addictive problem or an addiction, and that could be necessary to have counseling. Again, we're here to help you at Clover Counseling Services. We're open. Please call us if we can help. But let's go back to changing bad habits. The process of change starts with being aware that there's a problem, and then if you're aware there's a problem, then you can admit there's a problem. And once you admit there's a problem, you can accept it. And then the last part of the change process is the change. The hardest process part is the acceptance, because in this acceptance phase, a lot of times we make excuses. And this excuse phase is tough to overcome. One of the excuses that people say, they don't have enough time. So I want to look at time management briefly as we understand this. What do you do with your 24 hours in a day? We all have the same amount of time, and yet some people are quite successful when others are not. Some people are quite efficient and productive when others are not. So look at what you're doing that's wasting time. Are you scrolling through social media? Are you playing a lot of games on your phone? Are you looking at junk mail? Or are you, back to social media, like checking out people's pages? Are you doing things that are not encouraging or enhancing your life? Then we have time, not time wasters, but life enhancers, or things that are necessary in life. Yes, those are all important parts. We have to go to work, we have to do chores, we have to clean the house. The enhancers are worship, pleasures, growing, doing things that are going to enhance our health. So if you are not spending enough time on life-enhancing activities, that's something that you want to add to your daily routine. Work smart. Get rid of the time wasters and find more time for life-enhancing activities or the necessities of life. So if you are not making that excuse of I don't have time, then you have to accept the problem as your responsibility. It's my problem, so it's going to be my solution. Everybody goes about conquering a problem in different ways. But one of the first things that I think is important, not only recognizing it's a problem and admitting it's a problem, but getting somebody to check in on you regularly. Have an accountability partner. If you want to start exercising, have a buddy. They're going to push you and you're going to push them to go for that walk or go for a run or meet you at the gym. If you have someone that you want to check in with you about your eating or your drinking or your smoking or your gossiping or cussing, sometimes you can say, I've got a problem, I want to admit it to you, and I just want to check in with you regularly. Avoid triggers. When I've worked with people to quit smoking, if you are a smoker, you have triggers. When you drink coffee or you drink alcohol or after a meal, those are going to be triggers. Now, you can't avoid meals, but you can make it more difficult to have that cigarette. A lot of times I'll tell people, get rid of the stuff in your house that you can see that causes a problem. Make it more difficult to have that cigarette. Make it more difficult to have that chocolate treat. Make it more difficult to have alcohol. If those are the things that are affecting you and causing trouble and are a bad habit, clean out your house. It doesn't mean you never get to have a special treat or an alcoholic drink. It just means you don't have it in your home if that is what is causing you a problem or stumbling block. I love cookies. I don't like to bring cookies in my house because they're free. I'll just eat as many as I can. But it doesn't mean I never eat cookies. I just don't like to have them in my house. So be accountable. Have a partner. Avoid the triggers that you can as much as possible. And prepare for difficult situations. There are going to be times when you are tempted to do whatever bad habit that you have when you don't really need to do it. So prepare yourself for that. If you don't need to be around that food, move yourself from it. If you go to a party, you don't have to stand at the food table. If you go to a wedding, you don't have to have the cake. There are things that you can remove yourself from and prepare yourself for before you go into a situation. Our thoughts are so much our help or our hurt. So think about how you're going to handle a situation before you go into it. If you are a smoker, I do help people with smoking cessation. You can put your cigarettes in a place that are hard, you don't ever see them. I've told people, put them in your trunk. If you're going to have to go get them out of your trunk, you're much less likely to go get that cigarette. And recording what you're doing is important. If you have an accountability partner and somehow have a measured goal, it's going to be much more likely to be accomplished. Written goals are accomplished 97% of the time. Unwritten goals are not accomplished 97% of the time. So don't just say, I've got it up here, I know what I want to do. Write it down and get started. So as you truly start to accept that it is your problem that you are wanting to change, then you can start the process. Let's talk about eating habits, because that's the one that I think so many people have struggled with during this last several months. First and foremost, don't lose weight for anyone else. Don't lose weight because you're going to have a wedding soon, or don't lose weight because you're going to a reunion. Lose weight because it's something you want to do and choose to do long term to keep it off. So bad eating habits look like many things that we've been doing. Eating just because it's there, eating while we're watching TV, eating because we want to celebrate, eating because we're bored, tired, depressed, anxious. Eating for any number of reasons can be inappropriate. The only reason to start eating is because you're hungry. Now, a lot of people argue with me about this, and they say that eating is a pastime and something that we should all enjoy doing. Yes, enjoy it, but make sure that before you start eating, you're in a thought pattern. You're thinking, I'm hungry. What do I want? Let me get that. So one of the changes that you could start looking at making is eating for the appropriate reason. Food is a fuel, just like gasoline is a fuel for the car. Food is a fuel for our body to get through the day. We want to enjoy it. We want it to be good, but it doesn't need to be full of fat or calories if we're trying to lose weight. So, first step, eat only when you're hungry. All the food in the world won't fix anything but hunger, and it won't do anything but give you energy. So if you're sad, depressed, tired, bored, any of that, do something else. Don't eat. Once you decide I'm hungry, then think about, is this really worth it? Look it up. Put it in your food counter. I'd say one of the biggest things that I would encourage for weight loss is tracking your activity and your food intake. When you look it up on Fitbit, that's what I would encourage. Get a Fitbit, get an Apple Watch, get some sort of tracker. When you look that up, you can say, oh, barbecue has a lot of calories in it. I think I'm going to only have 2 ounces instead of 6 ounces, or steak, or sugar of any sort. Anything that you want to know about, you can look it up before you eat it. That switches you out of emotional eating into logical eating, and then you're more likely to make a good choice. Logical decisions are good ones. Emotional decisions are bad ones. People that are trying to lose weight, when they tell me, well, I just didn't think about it, I didn't want to think about it, I didn't want to feel about it, I just wanted to eat, they are in an emotional state of mind. So first and foremost, decide that you're going to break the cycle of emotional eating. Eat when you're physically hungry. Stop when the hunger goes away. I'm going to say that again in a different way. The reason that you start eating will be the reason that you stop eating. If you start eating because you're bored, you may eat all of the food in the house. If you start eating because you are hungry, you can stop eating when the hunger goes away. Not when it's gone, not when you have that second helping, but when the hunger goes away. So pay attention to your stomach when you are eating. It works wonderfully well. God made us have these hunger instincts, but He also gave us satiation instincts. So when you are full, content, relaxed in your stomach, stop eating. It's okay. The food will be there later if you get hungry again. And that's what we have to remind ourselves. Increase your water. If you are not drinking water, you are robbing yourself of one of the benefits of weight loss. Your liver has to help your kidneys function if you're not drinking enough water. And your liver's main function, or one of its main functions, is to metabolize fat. So don't allow or take that privilege away from yourself by not drinking enough water. If you're drinking 1 bottle of water a day, absolutely great. Add it to 2. If you're drinking 2, go to 3. I would think the more weight you have to lose, the more water you need to drink. So add water to your daily intake. Drink a glass of water before your meal, drink 1 with your meal, and 1 after your meal, and right then and there you'll have 3 bottles of water or 3 glasses of water under your belt. So the more water you're drinking, the better for you. It gets rid of hunger sometimes. It also can help with the look of the skin, sagging skin, elasticity of the skin. It helps a lot of things. So increase your water intake along with recording your food and breaking the cycle of emotional eating. Then, also, don't get into an all or nothing mode. Sometimes you're going to mess up. You're going to say, I'm only going to eat when I'm hungry, and I'm not going to eat those sugary things anymore, and you mess up and you binge or overeat or fall off the wagon. It's not all or nothing. It's not black or white. We are going to live in a gray spot, and that will be helpful for you. If you mess up, it's not done for the whole week. People will throw in the towel and stop eating correctly or being on their diet, and I don't like to call it a diet, but of their eating plan, because they mess up. Step right back into place on the very next meal or the very next time you get hungry. So if you don't or beat yourself up or overanalyze what you've done. It's simply a slip up. You get right back on track, you get back in tracking your food, and if you are staying with tracking your food, it will tell you how many calories you have left for the day, and that is a great thing to go to before your last meal of the day. So before you start dinner, look and see how many calories you have left. If you have 500 calories left and you plan on a meal that's going to be 700 to 800 calories, good idea, go for another walk. Go do some jumping jacks, do some sit-ups, do something that gives you more calories. Because the other thing that I would say is we're going to get active. If you don't want to start an exercise program, fine. Just be more active. Park further away, run to your mailbox, go up the stairs. Don't put things at the bottom of the stairs to go up at the end of the day. Every chance you get, move your legs. If you have not exercised in years, start slowly. But I would think the goal would be to exercise 30 to 45 minutes a day, almost every day. And I don't think there's a problem with that, especially if it's not high impact. If you're walking or biking or running or rowing or swimming, whatever you like to do, find the activity that grabs your attention, that keeps your interest, and do it. If you have an accountability partner, if you have a buddy that you walk with or run with, that's always going to be more fun. But get active. Now let's talk about weighing, and then we'll finish this up for today. Once a week, that's it. If you have to weigh. Some people like to try on a pair of pants, try on a pair of shorts, and watch that get closer and closer to fitting. If that works for you, do it. But weighing once a week is an accountability. It allows you to measure how you're doing. But if you weigh every morning, that can go up and down, and that can be frustrating and give you a hard time. So if you really want to change your weight, change your habits, and if you want that scale to go down, look at it once a week. That's just a clear measure. And then if it's not going down, think about what you're doing wrong. The 5 things that I've gone over. Record your record your food. Break the cycle and decide you're only going to eat when you are physically hungry, and you're going to switch out of that emotional eating and become physical in your eating. Increase your water, get it going and get it going good. And start eating because you're hungry, and stop eating when the hunger goes away. This is not all or nothing. We're going to stay in the gray mode most of the time and get right back on track if there's a problem, and get active. I hope this information is helpful. You have the ability and the power to change habits, bad habits, whether it's eating habits or other habits. I hope this is helpful. I hope you can start setting your goals and reaching them. If we can be of help here at Clover Counseling, let us know. Give us a call. Send your comments or your questions in. I'd love to help. Good luck with everything that's going on, and I hope your habits are good ones starting today. Bye.